Mr. Speaker, the government side lives in a fantasy land where the two groups of people only influence politics. Corporations and individuals. And somehow the individuals who are going to be uplifted by this policy is absolutely ridiculous. We told you from the very beginning that there are other interest groups that are contributing lots of money. Individuals that are extremely rich contribute to the company, and we don't to the government, to the politicians. And we believe that simply cutting off the money from corporations will not reflect everyone's interest. In fact, it will worsen the level of representation by society in general, because we believe that corporations at least have many more people to represent society, such as employees, such as shareholders, compared to rich individuals who has only themselves to represent. We believe that if interest rate politics exists and people are influenced by different groups of people, we believe that it should be a level playing field and corporations should not be denied their right for representation. Three things I'm going to talk about. First, about interest group politics and why it's important for many groups to contribute, especially these the people that are in their minority. Second, I'm going to talk about why corporations have legitimate interest and why that actually helps society by exercising their interest through campaign contributions. And finally, about how this policy will actually create a shadow contribution system where the hidden money is given to politicians without disclosure and people are influenced without other people, this public, knowing about it. All rebuttals will be integrated into my argument, so let's start by the first argument. What interest group politics? Because what they have mistaken is the fact that they think that all politicians, if corporations are gone, they will listen to the people. But the problem with their notion of people is extremely narrow. There is no way that politicians can go to every single person and listen to every single opinion of individuals. Even opinion polls are extremely vague and hard to understand what they really want. So interest groups comes in to make sure that they can crystallize that wished or vague thinking into policy, right? So like environmental groups can't just say, oh, we love the environment, so do something about the environment. That's insufficient for policymakers. That's why they ask environmental groups to come up with proper policies that they could help the environment, such as helping solar power or so forth. Corporations is no different. They can't, even if there are employees that are voting for particular people and they want to, for instance, support more, corporations that are more environmentally friendly, like those notions cannot be created, those policies cannot be created simply by people shouting they want more solar power. They need corporations to tell them we need these kind of subsidies and these kind of tax exemptions to foster better environmental corporations. We believe that those policy interests are important, and that's why these people exist. Why is campaign contribution necessary? Because they are basically a minority, first of all, and second, they don't have any votes. They have no ability to influence the political process if they have no money to contribute. So we believe that if individuals can both contribute money and people, votes, then we believe that it's only natural for interest groups that are in minority, are incapable of voting, can contribute through money to influence policies. If everyone can contribute money, which everyone does, right? We talked about environmental groups that are not corporations give money to politicians. We talked about rich individuals giving money to contributions, with sometimes even bigger than corporations. So we believe that to create a level playing field, everyone has to be able to make that contribution. It's not just about individuals versus corporations. That brings me nicely to why corporations have legitimate interests. Because, ladies and gentlemen, corporations are part of society. They're a huge part of society that employs hundreds and thousands of millions of people. And we're not just talking about big corporations, we're talking about small and medium-sized companies that doesn't necessarily have a huge voice and ability to influence policies. So, those people are contributing smaller amounts, maybe bigger than individuals, but smaller amounts to contribute to politicians as well. Without their ability to make campaign contributions, what will happen? Two things would happen. First of all, politicians will run to, if they have no other way of getting influence, then they will run to populist politics, right? So for instance, during the financial crisis, many people were very, very against bailing out the banks. it was extremely politically unpopular to help out the banks, despite the fact that experts knew that if the banks fail, the entire economy will go down the toilet. But the populist demands of the public was such strong. The reason why people still changed their mind is because there were political contributions by banks who were demanding that they will be saved, and in this case, these contributions did contribute to counter the populist sentiment of the public to make sure that these banks were bailed out and made sure that the entire economic system survived. And we believe that, not always, corporations are not always right, and individuals are not always right either. And each time, both sides contribute different kinds of money and opinion to these politicians, and we believe that corporations have just as legitimate say in profit-making as every other people. Furthermore, we believe that it's unfair to treat profit-making corporations as an interest that's bad, and environmentally friendly groups' interest as something good because it's about the environment, right? Those interests are all equal under our democratic and political system. And we believe that because we live in a capitalist society, we believe that it's in the very interest of society to listen to the corporations sometimes. Yes?
But we fairly prohibit all corporations from making financial contribution. We don't make any value judgment about the legitimacy of interest that they have.
Yeah, but you do make a judgment on treating corporation interests as illegitimate and environmental groups or union groups or other interests as illegitimate. You cannot distinguish these people's interests. We believe that profit-making incentive of corporations in a capitalist society, in a democracy, is just as important as everyone else. So let's go on to why this will create untransparent society. Because we need, ladies and gentlemen, as they said, political campaigns cost a lot of money. Where do you think that money is going to come from after they ban corporations from here? First of all, they're going to use systems as super PACs that exist in the United States that funnel money outside their campaigns to support a candidate. So they create individual ads unrelated to the campaign, but that are against certain politicians, that are against their interests. So this becomes extremely hard for people to track. Furthermore, we talked about how rich individuals who have corporate interests can give money, such as the Koch brothers, who are individually very rich but have corporate interests. But in the end, we believe it's much better if we knew which money and whose money is coming from and who is it going to, rather than having the system where people's interests, corporations' interests are not listened to. Therefore, we beg to oppose.